Hey, so it's Keith. What's up? How are you doing? So, hey, as you know, there's like kind of two elements within, or a few elements within my blog. This blog is actually going to be like strictly about nutrition, and I don't mean to split you all up. Some people definitely, I tend to get more personal messages from people who are into my spiritual stuff, my stuff about magic and stuff like that. And then there's the nutritional people that are genuinely interested in my journey. And I will always try within the titles to like let you know. So in case you're not interested in melding the two as I am, that's cool. So the just an announcement though, I'm uploading, or it's already uploaded. I have a long video that I did on the whole Doreen Virtue scandal, and so that's coming up next. But this one is going to be all about nutrition. I thought, well, if I upload that, if I make that Doreen Virtue video public right away, it's probably going to isolate some people of thinking that like I'm not really so much about nutrition. But nutrition is, in a way, or nothing prevails over other things. Nutrition, so many spiritual people that just eat junk food and whatever, and nutrition is of utmost importance. So that's always going on in my life, and it is always the like almost the primary struggle. But I've made huge breakthroughs with studying and with making adjustments about my own spiritual life, my emotional life, and my mental life. So I was like, okay, well, what blog can I do that, I wanted to do something before I put that Doreen Virtue video up. And it would have to be my change in perspective about macronutrients and where I am. And it's a little bit of a change. It's a lot of a change. It's being more honest with myself, of studying more of my own uniqueness, and of not getting caught up in trends. That is a really big thing that is going on right now, is where people cannot think for themselves. And so within that, they definitely, since they cannot think for themselves, they also do not realize that they are unique, and they try to fit into boxes and stuff like that. And I want to say within the vegan community right away, or just the health community, that there is sort of this struggle. That's to me, the polar opposite sides are the sort of paleo thinking and the sort of high carb thinking. And this new video came out that is, or this movie that's called What the Health. And I just want to caution you that that is a entry level video. And in case you want to know what I consider the time frame of vegan entry level, 5 or 6 years is still entry level. It's still like you've moved on, you've found out things about yourself, but and I especially have to caution anybody that has not been vegan and vegan minded as long as I have. Like it's a whole different story once you cross that sort of 40, 45, of where you don't have a lot of that natural, what the Chinese call prenatal jing or jing, running at a high volume, and you've got to get other things into your makeup of what you're consuming. The body completely reinvents itself every 7 years, in the sense of that no cell is left. And so I believe that there's an energy within the body. This is me channeling, and this is me telling you the things that I found out with my own experiences. So just so you know, we'll recap my experience. I became vegetarian at almost 14 years old. I was actually 13. Did I say vegan? Vegetarian. And then at 22, I became a vegan and a raw foodist at the same time. Through the old school Sproutarian, survival in the 21st century, and Wigmore, all those kind of people. Drifted over into fruitarianism for a while. And then with a second relationship I was in with a vegan, I sort of drifted into a more starchy, less raw, flour tortillas, a bit more cooked stuff. And then By the time I was 2006 came around, I got back into being fully raw, and then in 2010, like a lot of the raw vegans at that time, and this is an interesting thing to note, and it's kind of a message I have for younger vegans, but there was a lot of people into the raw vegan movement in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, and then a lot of them found problems that they had because they were not really paying attention to micronutrients, or just a lot of the stuff that doesn't have anything to do with macronutrients. So, and a lot of them drifted into back to flesh eating, and into animal products. And I don't want to make this a long video. I just want to say that I've been experimenting with. I got into the paleo thing. I had a short period where I was using animal products, and then I just very quickly, it did not work for my constitution. I was just seeing, right away a big like giveaway. Oh, well, I even see it now. It's like looking pretty amazing, my eyes, because I'm having less fat. Imagine that. And that's my constitution, my uniqueness. But when I did the whole animal products thing, I immediately got a high off of it. And what I learned in hindsight is that there's a lot more to nutrition than just fat, carbs, protein. Within fats, there's a lot of hormonal stuff, a lot of connective tissue stuff, and the body does a lot of stuff, and I really think from person to person, it sort of varies how it works. Within protein, it's not just protein as protein, there's amino acids, and within carbs, there's the whole what I call shit carbs, which are high glycemic carbs, and starchy stuff and all that just does not work for me. And so I guess I sort of like slipped into this eating a lot of fat. And it was an interesting experiment. I thought that a lot of the ways that my brain was getting really sketchy, of where I couldn't complete thoughts, I came to know that that's kind of a part of my how I am. Like, I'm just extremely right-brained. And I also, a lot of times I'm fucking caffeinated, And so I do have that, and it's like the way I like to be. I have to be a really creative person. I have to be inspired. If I'm just, just to give you an example, this may seem like I'm going off track. There's a lot of people that find a lot of peace in riding bike a long time, being quote unquote training, and having a really huge part of their day of being an athletic kind of thing. And I've had in and outs of that throughout my life. And the thing that really works for me is more of what you'd call a practice. And I've really, I've really dipped into Ashtanga yoga, and I am not off track here, okay? The point is within me, I really need to be inspired. I need to really feel creative. I need to really feel like I've created something amazing, like I've written some new poem that's amazing. I've come up with some new bit of music that's amazing. And that's really the uniqueness. And all of that kind of comes together with the nutrition. So I always keep saying I want to make a short video. So I've started experimenting this year with I've had some periods where I'm trying to save money, of where I haven't been spending money on fats. And one of the things that's really cheap, that's a good fat source, is chia seeds. Costco basically has, I think, hold on here. It's just right there. What is this? Does it even have the weight on it? Sure seems like, oh, there it is. Yeah, it's a 2-pound bag for $8. And so I was doing these big things of coconut oil in a month, and I really have been away from the oils. And what I'm doing now is whole food, and I just say be careful with like these headings of like really trying to process how you feel about stuff. Like I do take little bits of oil, but oil is not a whole food thing. Chia is a whole food thing. Nuts are whole food. Seeds are whole food. And so you gotta really work your way out. And I'm actually finding out for what I want to achieve right now is I really want to fit into my body and be able to do like a big goal for me has been getting to climbing. And somebody said to me, I've said this before, that, oh, you would be a really good climber with how super lean you are and super light. I am really, really, really fucking skinny. And for me, like I've always like been skinny when you see me with a shirt on. Like I don't have the chub going on there, but like when I take my shirt off, there's always a little bit of a flabbiness there. And that's going away, and I still need to get skinnier. I'm kind of like around 179. I'm 6'7", but my hips still look incredibly like tiny compared to like what sits right above, which is the abdominal area, and I'm starting to get ripped there. And a lot of what I'm doing, is I just, because of the money thing, I slipped into experimenting with not doing oils so much. So I want to talk about this more because I'm making breakthroughs with just discovering my own things. Like I think that at the entry level of stuff, you really got to pay, when you're switching diets, when you're becoming vegan, I really think you've got to concentrate on being satiated and not being caught up, with like that whole high carb, like carb up. I think that really works when you're entering into veganism and vegetarianism. I think it's a really good idea. And I think, like, as far as vegetarianism, you need to stay the fuck away from the animal products. Because even if you're not ethically concerned, and you should be ethically concerned, because actually the whole dairy and egg industry is like almost a worse abomination in a way, because those animals are all ill-treated. And then at the end of the day, they all die anyway. So you're not doing really anything at all in terms of that. And that's really a big spiritual disconnect. Like I'm not saying that you have to be vegetarian or vegan to be spiritual, but there's just these connections. You have to be aware of what you're connected to. Like most people don't want to be like funding things that are like contributed to like human suffering and all of this kind of stuff. Seems like a digression, but it's not. So just as I'm being like more open, more honest, with just what I feel and honestly following my journey, coming 2 years now, I had this, like I said, a tarot spread that I did on myself where I just saw some pictures of climbing, and it was started with yoga, and this person I saw who was doing yoga was a climber. And I was just like, wow, that's really interesting, because I used to climb rocks and go to places where it wasn't really climbing, but like I used to go to Jumbo Rocks and Joshua Tree, and I acquired this fear of heights eventually, which is really interesting. But when I saw this climbing, I did a tarot spread, and it was just the universe telling me, you need to get into climbing. And I was just like, I'm not really ready yet. And so part of it, where I am now, this year has been me really getting my body in shape. And that has led to a really extensive yoga practice. And now I'm starting to see results in my body with where I'm staying away from things that are like sort of this kind of training, more creative activity, like yoga, where it's more of a practice. And climbing would be more of a practice. And it's less of this like repetitive stuff, and that just doesn't work with my creative mind. I'm not trying to say that the way that I'm going, and at the end of the day I want to leave you with just saying you've got to study your own uniqueness. You've got to, like, if you want to do something entry level, pay attention to people that look like they're having results, and then very quickly you need to start working on finding your own path. And that again, to jump into the spiritual thing, we're in a Uranus retrograde right now. And a lot of that is about like letting go of gurus, of letting go of structure, and letting go of these sort of templates. and these sort of systems. And did I say gurus as well? So, okay, so that's it for now. And like I said, the next upload is a Doreen Virtue rant where I go off on how fucked up I think she's become and always was. And that she was a big help, but I want to talk about that. Support me by supporting my music, links in the drop down. Secondculture.bandcamp.com, second-culture.com. Find your own way, find your own uniqueness as you are connected into the, we are all as one. We're not an ocean of oneness, of like no personalities. The ego, the good side of the ego is a good thing. We express ourselves, and that's that. And you have to find out what your purpose and what your expression and what your happiness is. All right, like I said, please support me by supporting my music. Free downloads, bright blessings, and that's the end of the blog. Namaste.